Marketing is something that has always terrified me, and I don't know a lot about it. The only concept that I have a pretty good understanding of is the funnel. The stupid thing is, despite understanding this concept of the funnel, I didn't really think about it when I was picking my marketing strategies and as well as my day-to-day marketing activities that I was doing. I'm going to try to fix that this time around. Hey, it's Deborah with another video on the business side of self-publishing. My biggest mistake last time was treating marketing as an afterthought. Mainly because I was like, why do any marketing when I don't even have the thing ready to sell? And also not having a real plan beyond telling people, hey, the book is out now, please go pre-order / buy it. That is not a marketing plan. Leaving marketing to the very last thing meant that I made some pretty terrible strategic decisions. I only published 2 books last year, which is on the lower end of the release schedule for self-publishing. One of them was a low content book that I didn't even market, so it doesn't really count. My first book, well, I kind of screwed up the launch. I spread myself very thin across way too many different platforms, and some of those platforms required a lot more engagement than I was expecting in order to do well on them. I decided to go with content marketing, which is not in and of itself a bad choice. And in fact, of all the different choices that I could have picked, content marketing is probably the one I prefer and feel the most comfortable with, because I feel like there's a little bit more substance behind the stuff that you're putting out there. But the caveat is content marketing takes heaps and heaps and heaps of time. I was spending way more time on marketing than I was spending time on working on the next book, which is kind of problematic when the whole sustainability of self-publishing relies on frequent and consistent releases. So that is the other thing that I'm going to try and fix this year to see if I can get my funnel working more efficiently and more effectively. The funnel is essentially a kind of process map. It breaks down the entire customer acquisition process into discrete steps in sequential order, and that is the only reason why I understand it. The funnel begins with getting potential readers into the top of this funnel, which means understanding comparable titles. The commercially savvy way to do this would have been to write to market, which I tried, and we all know how that went. So I'm now at this weird limbo point where if I look at what I've written and compare it to what I think are the comparable titles, it doesn't really fit into any of the niches which are hot right now in the Kindle stores. So this may all crash and burn terrifically, in which case I will share the process with you guys so you can enjoy the train wreck and hopefully learn something from it along with me. If I think about the author platform and kind of the 3 categories of ways you can drive traffic into your mailing list, you've got social media and similar platforms which are all working on a recommendation system. So if you put a piece of content on the platform, that platform will automatically use its recommendation algorithm to push it out to the people on its platform, and then your content in theory should drive them towards your website, which has the sign up page for your mailing list, and then hopefully the conversion process in that part of the funnel is going to be reasonably high and you end up with some people on your mailing list. That's what I tried to do for my kids' book. Efficacy debatable. The second method would be to drive traffic to your website via search engine optimization. My understanding of search engine optimization is it's all keyword targeting. It relies on people typing keywords into a search engine and then your website being ranked highly enough in the results for them to actually see it and think it's relevant and click through to your website. Generally, if you're going down that route, a blog helps, because with a blog you have more content, which means more keywords, which means more chances of ranking highly in the search engine results, and therefore more chances of converting search traffic into people who land on your website and therefore sign up. I have my question marks about whether or not that's actually going to be more efficient and also efficacy, because I'm thinking of the keywords that I would try to rank for in that case, and I'm just like, those are going to be pretty hard keywords to rank for, and I don't think that is going to work. The third way of driving traffic is going to be ads. I'm just going to try and keep the Pareto principle in mind whenever I have to make a decision about something. Given that these are the 2 cardinal laws of self-publishing, I'm going to focus my efforts like this. 80% of my time and effort is going to go towards publishing the next book. 80% of the remaining efforts is going to go towards my mailing list. And then whatever is left over, I'm going to put towards my website, because I do need an entry point for people to actually sign up on the mailing list. So that's the plan. The problem is I have zero marketing skills, which means I need to learn some. So my starting point is to find some people who know what they're talking about. That brings me to the next problem of trying to figure out who is actually credible. There's probably 100 different ways to define this, but this is kind of the criteria I use. Number one is social proof. I was looking for people who came recommended by other authors who were known to be successful authors and highly regarded in their field. On the flip side, I was also looking to see whether there was any evidence that whatever they were selling, be it their book, their private Facebook groups, or their courses, or what have you, had any complaints from other people who had been through the course before. The second thing I was looking for was whether or not they had any verifiable credentials, and this usually came in the form of previous employment with reputable companies and publishing houses, things like that. The third thing I looked at was their body of published work, both under their own name and other pen names. That they had actual experience in self-publishing other than self-publishing pyramid scheme books that feed into their courses. I wanted to make sure they had published something within the last 6 to 12 months. Things are changing so quickly that I wanted to make sure that this person is actually still in touch with how self-publishing is working today. The last thing I was looking for was whether or not this person had not just an awareness about the publishing industry at large, but also adjacent industries. And this was important to me because I wanted to make sure that this person's advice was going to be grounded and informed by what is happening on a big picture scale. I want to learn the fundamental concepts and principles that are still going to apply no matter which platforms come and go and what changes they make to their algorithms. In the end, I narrowed my list down to these people. All of these people have written books specific to marketing for self-published authors, and even more specifically on email marketing for self-published authors. There are 2 other people I have identified as being good resources, but they're also more known for ads. I have question marks about ads. The normal discussion that I've seen is don't run ads for your first book because you're not going to get people reading through the rest of your backlist or reading through to the next book in the series. That said, Mark Dawson does have this free course on how to grow your list using Facebook ads, which does look like it would be interesting. I may end up trying that at the end, but we shall see. Who else would you consider to be an expert in marketing self-published works? Let me know in the comments, because if I've missed somebody, I'd love to know. I'm going to work through these books one by one, and I'll be posting videos with my main takeaways from each book, as well as how I've tried to implement the advice in the book. I'm going to be starting with Let's Get Digital first. You can get this book for free. I'm going to put a link in the description below, so if you want to read along with me, you can. And when I'm done working through it, I'm going to put my thoughts on the book right here for you to watch. But in the meantime, here's another awesome video for you to watch next.